What was the mystery behind Chevrolet Band 396 Porcupine engine? It was an engine so dangerous, NASCAR buried it. So radical, Chevy lied about its power. And so secret, even Ford couldn't kill it. This is the shocking true story of the 396 Porcupine, the Band engine that refused to die. What if I told you the mystery motor didn't die? It was rebuilt. It's the mid-1960s, and Chevrolet is locked in a fierce battle for horsepower supremacy. The legendary 396 Big Block engine, L78 variant, emerges as a high-performance powerhouse, equipped in iconic muscle cars like the Camaro, Chevelle, El Camino, and even the Corvette got the L78 427. We will come back to that another time. Behind its roaring success lies a shadow of mystery. Whispers of a band version, the so-called Porcupine engine, have fueled decades of speculation. Was this engine truly outlawed by NASCAR? Did Chevrolet underrate its horsepower to keep it under the radar? And how does the elusive 396 connect to the legendary 427 mystery motor? It's a story of innovation, secrecy, and the relentless pursuit of speed. Imagine a dark alleyway on the side of Chevrolet factory. A group of elite engineers are burning documents in 1963 after GM's racing ban, with one salvaging a 396 blueprint. They thought the Porcupine was extinct, but deep in Detroit's underworld, a shadow factory was already revving to life. The birth of the Big Block. The Chevrolet 396 cubic inch V8 was introduced in January of 1965, midway through the 65 model year, but maybe the proper place to begin is with the near-legendary 427 NASCAR mystery engine of 1963. See our feature on the mystery motor. Although the 427 mystery Mark II and the 396 Mark IV are of two different engine families, they are products of the same development path and share many of the same features. But while the mystery engine effectively dead-ended in '63, the 396 was the first in a long and successful series of big block V8s, opening a chapter in the Chevy performance story that is still being written. The most obvious element of the mystery engine that was carried forward to the 396 and all the big block Chevy V8s that followed was the distinctive canted valve cylinder head above. By splaying the intake and exhaust valves relative to each cylinder, the valve diameters could be larger and the port angles straighter, improving airflow. With the valve covers removed, the valves and rocker arms on this novel setup appeared to be pointed in every direction, inspiring the nickname Porcupine Head early on. At some point, the engine family picked up the name Big Block due to its larger bore spacing and taller deck height than the original 1955 Chevy V8, aka Small Block. There were actually three 396 cubic inch V8s introduced in early 1965, including the L78 for the Corvette and full-sized cars, and the L37 for a special version of the Chevelle SS known as the Z16. All featured a 4.094-inch bore and a 3.760-inch stroke, and were marketed under the name Turbo Jet V8. Rated at 425 horsepower at 580 degrees Fahrenheit, 6,400 RPM. The L78 was a serious piece of equipment, boasting 4-bolt main caps, a Holley 4-barrel carb, an 11-to-1 compression ratio, and a solid lifter camshaft. The L37 V8 for the Z16 Chevelle was essentially the same stout package, but with a less aggressive camshaft profile and hydraulic lifters, and it earned a 375 horsepower rating. The 396 in the Z16, an extensively equipped machine, was dressed out with a chrome air cleaner lid and valve covers. Only 201 were built. Finally, there was an L35 version in milder tune for the big cars, Biscayne Bel Air Impala, with a 10.25-to-1 compression ratio and 325 horsepower. Introduced at mid-year, the 65 396 was not produced in massive numbers. but it spawned an extensive line of 396 and 427 CID V8s for 1966 and beyond. A 454 CID V8 version appeared in 1970, and in its final state of production development decades later, the Big Block V8 evolved into the 8.1-liter 496 CID Vortec used in Chevy trucks. But the story hasn't ended yet. Though the 396 was intended to be a production powerhouse, rumors suggest that Chevrolet had a more radical version in development, a high-performance variant that was supposedly too powerful for its time. But before it could reach its full potential, it was abruptly sidelined. Why? Chevrolet's NASCAR dominance in the 1960s. During the 1960s, Chevrolet emerged as a dominant force in NASCAR, thanks to its powerful engines like the 427 Mystery motor and the later 427 Mark IV Big Block L78. While the 396 Porcupine engine wasn't the star of the show, it played a supporting role in Chevrolet's racing success, contributing to the brand's reputation for building reliable, high-performance engines. Drivers like Junior Johnson, David Pearson, Ned Jarrett, and Buck Baker piloted Chevrolet-powered cars to victory, showcasing the brand's strength on the track. Junior Johnson's 13 wins in 1965, David Pearson's 15-win championship season in 1966, and Ned Jarrett's 13 victories in 1967. 1965 were all testaments to Chevrolet's engineering prowess. However, the 396 Porcupine was ultimately overshadowed by the 427, which was better suited for NASCAR's high-speed demands. NASCAR's homologation rules, fierce competition from Ford's 427 FE and Chrysler's 426 Hemi, and Chevrolet's focus on the 427 as its primary racing engine limited the 396's role in stock car racing. Outlawed. Was the 396 Porcupine engine too powerful? One of the biggest questions surrounding the Chevrolet 396 Porcupine engine is whether it was truly banned from racing. Some sources claim that NASCAR outlawed it outright before it could see widespread competition, fearing it would give Chevrolet an unfair advantage. But is that the whole story? In the early 1960s, NASCAR had strict homologation rules that required engines used in racing to be available in production vehicles. Chevrolet had already faced scrutiny in 1963 with its Mystery motor, a prototype that was used as a testing platform in limited quantities but never officially made it into showroom cars. NASCAR, wary of manufacturers introducing cutting-edge technology that wasn't available to the average buyer, started cracking down on experimental engines. However, there is no concrete evidence of an official NASCAR ban specifically targeting the 396. Instead, what likely happened was a combination of corporate strategy and rule changes that prevented the engine from becoming the dominant force it was meant to be. Unlike the 427 Mystery motor, the 396 was primarily designed as a street performance engine rather than an all-out racing motor. Did Chevrolet lie about the horsepower? One of the most persistent myths surrounding the 396 Porcupine engine is that Chevrolet intentionally underrated its horsepower figures. The L78 version of the 396 was officially rated at 375 horsepower at 5,600 RPM and 415 pound-feet of torque at 3,600 RPM. But insiders and dyno tests suggest that it may have actually produced closer to 425 horsepower, if not more. This wouldn't be the first time an automaker fudged its horsepower ratings. During the muscle car era, manufacturers frequently downplayed their engine's output for insurance and regulatory reasons. Higher advertised horsepower often meant higher insurance premiums for customers, so some manufacturers, including Chevrolet, strategically reported lower numbers. Additionally, General Motors had an internal policy that limited mid-sized cars to 400 cubic inches, meaning that a high-output 396 could have been downplayed to ensure compliance with corporate guidelines while still delivering exceptional performance. In real-world applications, The L78 396 proved to be an absolute monster on the drag strip, often outperforming its official specs. It's no surprise, then, that enthusiasts believe Chevrolet was hiding the engine's true capabilities. The L78 featured an aggressive solid-lifter camshaft, 11.0-to-1 compression, rectangular ports, and a Holley 4-barrel carburetor. It was marketed as the Turbojet and debuted in mid-1965 in the Corvette full-size Chevrolets like the Impala and select Chevelle SS models. In the Corvette, only 2,157 units were equipped with the L78, making it a rare and desirable option. The engine required additional features like a domed hood for clearance and mandatory upgrades such as a transistor ignition system and a 4-speed manual transmission. In the Chevelle SS 396Z16, only 201 units were built, further emphasizing its exclusivity. The L78 remained in production until 1970, evolving over time but retaining its reputation as one of Chevrolet's most powerful and collectible engines. Why the 396 never reached its full potential. Despite its strong performance and promising technology, the Chevrolet 396 never achieved the legendary status of its larger 427 and 454 Big Block siblings. Several factors contributed to this. Corporate decisions. General Motors, following its self-imposed ban on factory-backed racing in 1963, prioritized production-friendly versions of the 396 over all-out racing variants. NASCAR's rules. NASCAR's homologation requirements favored engines already in mass production, limiting the competition use of experimental motors. The rise of the 427 and 454. As Chevrolet continued developing big block engines, the 396 was gradually overshadowed, but not forgotten. The legacy of the Chevrolet 396 Porcupine engine. Today, the Chevrolet 396 is remembered as one of the most iconic engines of the muscle car era. While the mystery surrounding the banned Porcupine variant continues to intrigue enthusiasts, its real legacy lies in its contribution to Chevrolet's big block family. The technology pioneered in the 396 paved the way for legendary engines that followed, and its reputation as a powerhouse remains unchallenged. So why does the 396 matter today? Resurrection. Because hidden in your neighbor's garage, your dad's Chevelle, or even GM's vaults, the Porcupine is still out there, and it's hungry. Next time, we crack open Chevy's secret archives to expose the engine that rewrote history. Until then, keep your revs high and your valves splayed. Until next time, this is Paul from Rare Car Stories. Catch you later.